couple of weeks ago, I received an email from Eachen, I hope I pronounced their name correctly, if I want to review one of their products. And the product that they want me to show is a garage door opener, what you can see here. What is interesting about this is this garage door opener actually uses the eWeLink application. All the products that I have seen that use the eWeLink application came from iTead, so I just assumed that it's a closed system. But it seems that other vendors can also use the eWeLink application. And since iTead doesn't have a garage door opener, I think it's a nice touch that somebody else actually made that and, well, made it available in the same eWeLink applications that you might also use to control your lights or your other appliances. So you don't need a separate application to control your doors. So in this video, I'm going to look at this product, how to set it up, and how to use it in the eWeLink application. First, I just want to show what's in the box. So this is the box this unit comes in. It's funny because the box itself doesn't mention the company name, and it doesn't also mention the eWeLink application. And I think the reason for that, because after spending some time on their Facebook page, it seems that the same unit is available for iTead and another application as well. So they are using the same hardware in different environments, which is also nice because you are not necessarily tied into one application. But since I have eWeLink, I'm going to look at that, and that obviously this product is also the eWeLink version. So we got the unit itself, so that's the Wi-Fi unit. That's what you need to place next to your garage door. And this is a very small unit. It's actually a nice design. It feels quite nice. It has a couple of holes, I think one for the LED and the other one for a reset hole or a pairing hole. You have one micro USB on the side, and you also have a micro USB lead. It doesn't come with a micro USB adapter, so you just have to use your own. And on the other side we have some connectors. Actually we have two connectors. There is one that goes into your garage door, so and that's the small lead which is here. And the other one goes to this door sensor, so it can operate the garage door and also can sense the state of the garage door, whether the door is open or not, which is nice because you get a feedback if your door is open or not. As it says, for the input it needs 5 volts 1 amp, so I'm guessing any USB adapter which can output 1 amp is going to be sufficient, and it uses the 4.0 GHz Wi-Fi standard. Well, I'm assuming this is a ESP8266 based unit, so it's the same sort of concept what we see from other Sonoff devices. Besides the main unit and the cable, as I showed up, you're getting the door sensor with a fairly long cable. You're getting some zip ties, and also you are getting some hardware, so some mounting brackets, the cable for the garage door opener, a couple of screws, double-sided adhesives, wall clips, and nuts and bolts. So that's all in the package, and you are also getting like a user's manual. So it shows all the components or all the pieces in the box, and it also shows you how to wire up. It's fairly simple, but we are going to look at it later. And then setting up the device, going through the pairing process. According to the instructions, I should be doing the pairing of the device to the eWeLink application before I start installing it, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. So far I've connected the door sensor because I just wanted to see how I can view the state of the garage door in the application, so I just connected that. And unfortunately there are no markings which output is which, and they are using the same type of connectors, but based on this image it looks like that the connector which is on the same side as the indent is that goes to the motor, and the one which is closer to the two holes here, that goes to the sensor. So I've just done that, connected it, and now I'm connecting the USB micro USB lead for the USB power supply. And after some time we should see that the red LED which is here is blinking. And now to get into pairing mode, I need to press the pairing button for 5 seconds. And so I'm doing that with a toothpick. And now I can see that the LED is on that usual eWeLink pairing pattern, which is, I think, 2 or 3 pulses, and then a little bit of pause, and then 3 pulses again. So I go to my eWeLink application, I start the pairing, so I just go through the standard process. This works exactly the same way as we have seen for all other Sonoff devices. And we just wait until my phone finds the device and then starts communicating the Wi-Fi credentials to it. Okay, and I'm going to name my devices Garage Complete. So, that was easy. And let me just move this stuff around. So now we can see that I have a garage door. If I go into details, I get a message that there is a new firmware update, so I might just go and do the firmware update now. So this didn't take long at all. It was probably only a minute or even less. So I'm on the latest firmware. Here, since we are in the device settings, we just quickly go through the details. So I can just rename my device, check the firmware, I get the notifications, which I don't want to have, and the power and state, which can be on or off and keep. And I think for this particular device, off is the only acceptable option here, or the only useful option here. And do you see it here? So for the manufacturer, we got the name New Smart, and the model is G1. Okay. So that's how they call themselves. And if we go back to the settings, we have the same, the 3 buttons on the top, and we have settings, delete, and history. So the same, the same stuff that we have seen on other devices. And then down on the bottom of the screen, we have the share, the schedule, the timer, and the loop timer. So the same sort of functions that we usually get with Sonoff devices. I'm not particularly sure if it would make sense to have any of these here. I mean, you don't want to open or close your gates based on a particular schedule, but well, you might want to do that because of course you can use it for gates or any other, like any other devices which require a contact instead of a steady on-off pulse, what you would get from a Sonoff Basics. So garage door openers, gate openers, anything like that. And we also have the loop timer. So that could be actually quite useful. So as you have seen in my previous video, you can use the loop timer to auto off something. So maybe you can use the loop timer that you open your gate and it automatically closes again after 5 seconds or something like that. So now in the application, I can obviously click on the button, and then you can see that it passes the relay for a short time, which is great because this is what we want for a garage door opener. So we only need to send a relatively small pulse, not keep the contacts closed as you would get from a Sonoff Basic or any other Sonoff product. So it basically sends a signal to the garage door opener that please open or close now. And now what we can see is that it's light green, which means that the garage is open because I have the magnet and the relay contact separated from each other. So what I want to test now is what happens if I bring this magnet close to the sensor. And now we can see that the state in the application has changed. So the state really reflects the state of your door. So again, if this would be a Sonoff or a touch or something, then the color of your device, for example, here is blue, and when I close it, then it gets black. So that immediately reflects the state of the lamp or switch whenever you change it. But here, obviously, this is delayed because, well, you close the door and after some time it closes. Or when you click open, then your door starts moving, and then after probably a couple of seconds, you will get a feedback that, well, your door is actually open. So that's actually quite nice how they utilize the status feedback in this particular application. And of course, you can operate it from the main screen as well. So if I click here, then you engage the relay, and if I bring the contact close, then it changes the status to off. If I bring it away, then it's on. So off means closed, on means open. When you are using the scenes, then this device works a little bit different from what other devices do. So what I have done is I've created two new scenes. One says garage open and the other one says garage closed. And what I have done here is that in the garage open scene, on the condition I said that I want something to happen when the garage is on. And what I said is that I want the POW, it's one of my other Sonoff devices, to also come on. And when the garage is off, then, well, which is basically closed, then the POW should also be closed. And in here, the garage on off is not actually when you click the button, but that actually the state of the garage door, so whether the garage door is open or closed. And again, because the two events, when you click the button and when the door opens or closes, can have a little bit of a delay in this device, then obviously the way it functions is a little bit different as well. So what I have here now, you can see that the sensor is close, sorry, the magnet is close to the sensor, so the garage is, or the door is off because the door is closed, the sensor is closed. So the system has also turned off my POW. And when the garage door opens, so the garage is on and my POW comes on as well. And I'm also getting these messages because it's, I'm getting these notification messages for my POW, but you can just ignore that for the time being. For this device, you can use the scenes to control something based on whether your door is open or not. So based on whether this relay receives a contact or not. So in this particular case, let's say that well, I'm using this for my garage, and then the POW is, let's say, controlling the lights outside on my driveway. So as the garage door opens, my driveway lights automatically come on, and as the door closes, the driveway lights goes off. And that's actually quite nice because this scene would work if I operate this garage using my eWeLink application or the remote which comes with my garage door, or the switch that I have probably installed within my garage. So the scene is not based on whether you clicked on or off in this application. But this also reminds me that you can use this device not as a garage door opener, but as just a basic sensor. Well, exactly the way I have set it up here. So I'm not using the output for anything. If I'm not, pressing this button at all, then I'm not actually controlling anything with it, but still I can use the sensor to sense if something is open or closed. So maybe you can install it in your front door and then just have this device control some other devices around your home. Maybe, switch on all your lights when you come home, or, something on your driveway or your outside lights or something like that. Please excuse me for the crudity of this setup, but I only had one power outlet at the, in the vicinity of the garage motor. And I have mounted the sensor on the far side, which is somewhere here. I'm going to show a close-up of that to sense whether the garage door is open or not. And luckily enough, I have a conduit which is running on top of this rail, so it was easy to hide the wires. So it's all neat and tight. If I would have a proper, second power outlet, I just only have this one, which is, in the top right here. So then I would obviously hide these cables, this one. So it would be quite nice and neat. This is how the installation looks like on my garage motor. So I have a Herman Promatic, and I have the unit stuck here on the side using the double-sided adhesive tapes that was provided. And as you can see, this terminal goes to the door sensor. So that's the wire and the conduit which goes all the way to there. And the other cable goes in here, and I have the two terminals for the garage door, the opener switch. And as you can see, I have another wire which goes to my wall switch. So I can use my remote, my wall switch, and now my device as well to control it from my smartphone. Mounting the sensor was actually quite tricky because you really had to get the sensor really close to the magnets, and also you have to be aware of how the door is moving, so you can't really put it, in my particular case, you can't put it here because these door panels sort of move upwards and away. So the only real solution was to mount it behind, because this door panel doesn't go any further in. And what I also decided, that instead of the provided magnets, I'm just going to use my own magnets. So these are just round magnets because they stick to the metal door anyway, and probably they are stronger than the provided magnets, so it's not that sensitive to distance. But as you can see, I just use a piece of wood, and so the sensor is screwed into the wood, and I use another piece of double-sided spongy 3M tape to mount it on this panel, which I guess is not ideal. I mean, if for a permanent solution, you probably need to screw it in just to make sure it doesn't get loose and then, you know, get jammed or something. But it actually works, and with these magnets, it's correctly sensing the door state. I don't think the operation of this device is going to be a surprise to any one of you, but let's see how it works finally that we have it installed. So as you can see, I'm in the application, and you can see that the background is gray, so it indicates that it is off, which means that it's closed. And if I press the button, then the garage door comes up. Once the garage door is up, nothing really changes because the magnets have already passed the sensor, so they are open. But let's see what happens when we close it. So I'm pressing the button again, and the door comes down. And the application is still showing that the door is up because the magnets haven't reached the sensor. So we just have to wait a little bit. And once the door is fully closed, then the background in the app goes to gray, showing that the garage door has closed. And I think that's the correct way of showing that. Instead of showing where it's fully open, you should get a notification or a status whether it's fully closed or not. I'm quite happy with this product. It took a little bit of time to get the sensor correctly aligned, so it senses the garage door being closed, but the rest of the installation was pretty easy and straightforward. I think this is a really nice addition to the Sonoff line. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video.